already. Maybe I'm getting things mixed up. But, Blitzcrank was locked in the second game for CLG EU. The first game was Ezreal being locked in by Giants.
Yep.
So, we'll see how this goes and whether or not Ez is going to continue to feature in every single matchup at Dreamhack Winter.
Yeah, exactly. Blitz played him in the first game. He has 15 seconds to pick his champion here. Doesn't, of course, have to play his own. He can pick someone else's, and they can switch them in and out. We'll wait and see. But his timer is counting down. As you said, he's got plenty of options. There's some safe first picks that we haven't seen so far. I mean, we saw Zyra in the last game. Acer picked them up first. Or we got Blitzcrank picked up first by CLG. But there is Nunu. Now, we don't know whether it's going to be support. We don't know whether it's going to be jungle. But the fact of the matter is, he's not banned this time around. He's there. They have taken away from Amazing, though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We've seen it in the previous game. Nunu and Zinzao was banned out from the game, targeting that at Amazing, removing those two junglers from his jungler pool, forcing him to pick a different jungler. So locking in the Nunu, again, it's a safe pick. It doesn't have a thing. Even if he is in the jungle, there's not a lot you can do about it. All it tells you as Team Acer right now is that this Nunu is going to play aggressive. He's going to be playing. There's going to be somebody coming in to consume your rates and steal your buffs and put pressure on you. So it's a smart move by Giants, and they used the full minutes. They took a long time to decide which champion they were going to lock in, and eventually locked it there. Who are they going to put as a support for Ezreal?
They are either still deciding on that or looking for another pick. Is it going to be that Leone picked up right at the end of their timer? Amazing, of course, not going to be the support player, so he's picking for someone else, and they do switch it right over to Taric. So Taric Ezreal, it's an aggressive bottom lane, it's a strong bottom lane, but Taric not bringing quite as much versatility to the late game as perhaps Leona is. That long-range solar flare or the quick flash Zenith Blade or even just over a wall for the initiate that Leona has, a little bit more than Taric. He's just going to go in, he's going to stun Shatter. Oh, and that's about all he brings to the table. His heal's not really worth much, and he generally feels very useless in the late game. So, yeah, if he can get Ezreal fed in lane, if he can really power him ahead, then, okay, he's not going to need to be so strong late game. He can just stand there, absorb skill shots, and let Ezreal do all the work. But if this game stays close, if this game really drags out and both teams are even, that support could really make the difference. And if that is going to be a support Nunu alongside a Vayne, I much prefer that comp, especially for late game.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially when you consider the effect that they're going to have on team fights. Yeah, Taric's going to get in there, shatter, use Radiance, and put some damage down, stun one person up. But you compare that to an absolute zero slow. You compare that to the Blood Boil movement speed and attack speed buff that Vayne's going to be picking up, and in conjunction adding the Ice Blast, which is going to be reducing the move speed and the attack speed for either Ezreal or Jax if this Jax does get locked in. It's a much, much, much smarter combination. In addition to that, we've seen a Shen being locked in. So once again, a safe pick. You don't know if that's going to be a Shen mid lane, a Shen top lane, or a Shen in the jungle. Depending on the team, depending on the jungler, for your team will depend on where that champion goes.
Yeah, I think Acer were taking a gamble with it being in the top lane. Picking that Jax into Shen, he does very, very well up there. He has that damage. He can power through what is initially a very tanky top laner in Shen. He can leap on him, land the stun, land the CC, and then, of course, be very useful later on. And when they're coming up against the Vayne combo, they need something late game to keep them going. If she just gets too strong, it's going to be too much. Now they have Jax. She can leap onto him, lock him down, do as much damage, keep him CC'd, slow him, lock onto that Vayne, and just consistently take him down. And then on top of that, they pick their jungler. They pick Skarner, who can just flash in, grab Vayne, pull him back into the Acer lineup, where he's going to get stunned up by Taric, stunned up by Jax, whatever else comes in the AP mid, and hopefully they can burst that Blitz V2 down before Vayne really gets any kind of impact.
And this is the patch that we're playing, by the way, that we need to remember that Skarner's Impale has been, I use the term loosely, nerfed. It has been modified. That's a much smarter way of saying it. Previously, if somebody tried to flash away and you got in range to cast the Impale, you would still catch them. They would complete their flash, they would get that distance away, and they get pulled even further back. So, that has been removed. You can no longer do that. You add the tumble, the flash, and the condemn that Vayne has in her disposal to deal with this Impale. And it's actually going to be quite difficult to get hold of Vayne, especially when you look at the rest of the champions that have been locked in. A Shadow Dash Taunt from Shen, that's going to pull Skarner away. A Rupture or a Feral Scream, that's going to get Skarner to get away. Or, in this particular case, a Crystallize. We've seen the Froganivia. Yep. Now we're going to see the Extranivia and see how that one plays out.
From what I hear, he's still pretty strong on it. I mean, he's not world famous, he's not infamous, but he's very, very good with this champion. And he doesn't just sit there and farm for 40 minutes. He doesn't build the crazy things like the Warmogs and the Chalices. He does a lot more damage early. He's a lot more aggressive, sometimes killing people in lane, Sometimes getting killed in lane because of it, of course, as well. But ultimately, it works out the same thing. He has that wall, he has the stun, he has the ult. So late game, that utility is still all there. And your wish might just be coming true.
This is 10 internet points that I'm gonna be calling, because I called the Warmogs, and if Karthus gets locked in, I really, really like this combination. The thing is, both teams have now got a lot of great capabilities and great coordination between them. Yeah, fair enough. Tarek's not exactly going to be, giving a huge amount of presence. But when you look at his opposition, when you look at the team he's facing, the only person you need to stop is Vayne. Shen needs a lot of time to kill you. Cho'Gath needs a lot of time to kill you. And if Anivia doesn't get you in that instant burst right at the beginning, she needs some more time to get cooldowns. So in this situation, in this context, the dazzle onto Vayne, followed up by an impale or a leap strike into the counter strike, for example, or something similar. It's a great, great combination. And I think both teams, it's going to come down to player skill and player ability. Neither composition is really outshining or outclassing the other.
I can agree with that. There's only one thing here I can see which may swing it in Giants' favor. If that Shen gets particularly strong and that Cho'Gath gets particularly large, that's a huge front line there for Vayne. If you, in the same process, add in Nunu, channeling his ultimate down on the whole battlefield, that's a lot for Acer to get through before they can touch it. If they are let through one at a time by Giants, they're going to get picked off one at a time by Vayne.
Yeah.
If they let that happen, Giants will destroy them. And once she's done it in one fight, she's going to snowball it through the rest of them.
Now, I'm going to risk and put myself in the direct path of flame from chat, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Crystallize comes down from Anivia. Vayne uses Condemn onto the champion. Do they get stunned against the Crystallized wall?
I think they do, yes.
Well, this is going to be an awesome combination then. It's something else to consider. Somebody overcommits, somebody jumps in with a leap strike or flash looks for an impale, and all of a sudden finds themselves stuck to a wall, pinned, stunned. After the impale stun goes down, you follow it up with a flash frost from Anivia. That's a secondary stun. You kill it to a champion, and all of a sudden it's 4 versus 5. They're running away, and you cannot outrun Vayne. She is programmed to chase you down. So I really, really like this combination. It's something that's gonna prove to be really, really awesome. So we're waiting for this game to load, and we're gonna see how this one plays out. I'm gonna ask the audience once again. Let's see how awake everybody is. Who here is cheering for Giants? A couple of hardcore fans. And anybody else here cheering for Team Acer? Sadly, the crowd is not too excited to jump into the game. And I believe we're ready to go.
We are ready to go. We have the game screwed up. Everything is set and ready. And both teams are getting underway for this level 1 possibility. Either we're going to see an engagement. We have got strong comps from both sides on it, of course, with that Cho'Gath knockup, with the long range stun from Anivia, or with the Tarek stun to follow up with a lot of burst damage coming out from Citizen Wayne's single targets, Citizen Wayne's Qs, and a stun from Jax if they so need it. But, as we have seen before, neither team really wanting to go for any solid, quick, straight-up engages, running into each other's jungle. We might see a little bit of a late invade. We might see some ward placements coming out from some teams as the timer ticks on down, as we saw COG late invading onto the blue buff last game. But, sorry, first game, not last game. But, at the moment, everyone's being a little bit passive.
Yeah, you know what? There's too much at stake. It's a lot of money on the line. It's this game in particular, where both teams are 0 and 1, and if somebody picks this up and gets a win to their name, they're 1 and 1 instead of 0 and 2. So there's so much less pressure against the BYOC team for tomorrow. You see these little gingerish pokes, very subtle, gentle, looking at each other, getting in range for vision, and then backing off because nobody really wants to get caught, but they're just scouting. They're just scouting, getting as much information as possible. They mimic one another's wards once again to gather as much info as possible. And I believe we need to rearrange your scoreboard, Mr. Penke.
Yes, we will. If I remember correctly now, my maths might be a little bit off. The loser of this game, has no way to get out of the group.
If they're going to be 0 and 2, yeah, I would guess so. If you lose this game, I don't know if it's 100% the case, because of course, if you lose this game 0 and 2, you win against the BYOC, and the team that beats you loses to the BYOC. You have a 3-way tie. 1 win and 2 losses. Yeah, so it's entirely possible, but it's just going to depend on who they're playing against and how the matches turn out. But if you win this game and you win tomorrow against the BYOC, then I believe you actually almost guarantee yourself a slot. So potentially 2-0 for CLG, and then 1-1, 2-1 for whichever team plays it tomorrow. But again, this is us assuming that that's the cause. So we do have a very, very brief pause. We'll see exactly what the matter is right now as the admins will jump up on stage and have a quick chat. It is Giants that have actually called that one. So, yeah, small pause at the moment.
Yeah, I was about to comment. Morden going for a smiteless blue buff, but he didn't get too much damage done onto it from Shen in the top lane. So he's actually taken quite a lot of damage from this blue buff before he even gets it complete. So, I mean, we don't know. Skarner is not the biggest invade jungler. He's not really going to do that, but it's going to set Cho'Gath back a little way. Whether it be for ganking the bottom lane after his red buff, ganking the top lane after his red buff, it's going to be a little bit further behind than he originally would have been if Shen could have done more damage to that. So we'll see if that really makes an impact on the way he plays or not. But Skarner is about to make his way onto the red buff, and notice how we can see it on the minimap here. He's avoiding this ward. He's headed around the outside of it. We're going to have a look at him as soon as the pause is done, but he is avoiding that blue buff ward, which he knows is at the race. So he's going to get to that red buff. He's going to be able to do it before or out of any kind of knowledge for Giants. So we'll see if that really makes an impact onto the top lane as that goes on through. We did get another pause. They unpaused briefly for about 2 seconds and immediately did it again. So
it does appear that we're going to have a remake very, very quickly. So I do apologize about that, guys. There was some issue along the way. We'll find out exactly why in a second. So we're going to quickly remake this matchup. We'll jump in. I think myself or Panky can get this lobby created really quickly. And I think we can do a blind pick. I don't think we need to go through the whole bans and pick process again. So I'm going to create this one. And Panks, do you want to entertain the folks?
We will. So, I don't know. I'm going to sit here, look through these lines. Also, we're blind pick. We'll come back in shortly. Acer v Giants. I don't know which way to call it. We're seeing some serious discussion there with Riot there behind the desk. So I don't know what this issue is and why it be a complete remake. It's obviously not a hardware issue. It's not headsets or mice or anything along those lines. So something fairly serious. We'll find exactly what it is. Who is it they're talking to? Is that Samuks? That is Samuks.
Yeah, they're having a quick chat to a couple of the guys over there on the Giants side. They were the ones that actually called the pause to begin with. So a little bit of discussions and matters going on. We'll get this fixed up as soon as we can. And again, there's a lot on the line here. You know, we've talked about it. We've talked about the teams. We've talked about the fact that tomorrow, everybody has to play another game tomorrow. And it's quite an interesting setup when you think that you normally get into a tournament, you get into the groove of things, you start, getting into the swing of playing games and last hitting and picking all your champions and all sorts of things like that. And then all of a sudden, it's taken away from you. You lose that rhythm, you lose all of that tempo that you've built up, and you have to deal with it again later. So it appears as though the game may have been unpaused. So yeah, we're just investigating this right now, guys. I do apologize once again about the delay and the small pause. But let's take a moment to remind everybody, if you are on Twitter, hashtag DHW12. That is the official hashtag for the Dreamhack Winter Tournament. Make sure you spread that around, get some love, and while you're there, at CRS Panky and at Quickshot. Share some love.
We may have some skin codes to dabble around later as well. So,
I'm not. Oh,
that one's been used. That one I gave out on Reddit earlier.
I'm not sure what these little babies are, but if you join us on Twitter, we might be able to share some love with those a little later. Let's talk about teams. Let's talk about compositions. Let's talk about champions. You got Vayne Nunu in the bottom lane against Tariq Ezreal. Who do you think is going to win?
I think if Tariq ever lands a stun, lands a full combo, Ezreal's got the burst to go over that. But trying to catch that Vayne with both Tumble and the Blood Boil from Nunu is going to be very, very tough to land that stun in the first place. Plus, you're going to be wanting to land it on Vayne. So that means Nunu can just stand there in front of you, Ice Blast him as he tries to run towards Vayne. There's the slow, you're not getting in range. And then you've got to waste your stun on Nunu or just back off completely. Yeah, fine. And then if you look at it late game, you've got Vayne, you've got Cho'Gath, as you mentioned. That's a lot of true damage. Percentage health-based true damage coming out of Vayne. Then, of course, the true damage beast from Cho'Gath is going to rip through somebody's health bar. And whether it be Citizen Wayne to get that Karthus out of the picture as quick as possible, whether it be Ezreal because he's in a horribly bad position, or whether it just be Tariq because he's got a lot of armor on him normally. He's very tanky. He can absorb quite a bit of damage from what is primarily not too much magic damage on the Giants lineup. If Morden wants to turn around and just feast off half of his health in the first place, Vayne can pick him off in a couple of extra attacks. And then, well, what is there to do? A couple more coming out of Vayne, a little bit of true damage, that's it. No more Tariq. That's a repetitive stun throughout the course of that fight, which is suddenly off the table. So we did just see a quick shot there of the players. They look like they're back in and playing, so this pause should vanish in a couple of seconds' time. There's only a minor delay in this, so we'll be back up running any second now. And well, Morden has suddenly run across the map on the screen here. He's teleported halfway around, so we'll see where he ends up back at. He's at the red buff.
Well, it just looks like a little bit of trial and error here between exactly whatever the bug is, whatever the technical difficulty is right now. We're busy working through it as best as we can. You can see a little bit of Morden farming, but I'm not quite sure if we are up and live for this matchup or not. As soon as the production and the admin crew know, give us a shout, let us know if we are good and live.
Yeah, it does seem
looks like it.
Live on the screen, and everyone's carrying on just as they were before. So, Shab happy to keep CSing the top lane, but Amazing is up here. He's hiding there, double buff in his top push to a level 1 Samox. He's about to hit 2 after one more creep. If he gets out before this, he does come out just as Samox hits 2. That Vorpal Blade lands, but he's going to taunt away. Does take the slow though from Amazing. He's just going to land as much damage as he can, using that True Damage on the red buff just to rat him down and force him to use a health potion. But 2 seconds earlier, that creep wouldn't have died, and Amazing wouldn't have hit level 2.
Yeah, what a big difference. While we got this momentary lull, let's rearrange our scoreboard and make sure that our top lanes are all sorted out and up to date. Up in the top lane, a little bit of poking back and forth again. You know, nothing really exciting right now. Amazing is looking to set something up. He's looking to put himself in a position where he can actually get some...
Cho'Gath, sorry, coming straight up from the mid lane, landing a knock up onto Citizen after the quick stun from Exter, but a flash away from Citizen forces Exhaust down onto Morden Wayne, but the horse... Morden Wayne onto Morden, it's a first blood landed after a flash on the turret. Exter does get egged by it, but he gets out of the turret range again before the egg actually goes down thanks to a quick flash, and ultimately picks up first blood onto Anivia.
Yeah, really, really nicely done. First blood picked up by Anivia onto Karthus. The thing that's nice about that is Anivia's a champion who, if he can start getting ahead early, it's going to play into their favor. Both Amazing and Shabs, rather, was looking to set up a kill there in the middle lane, but they could not get in range for the leap strike, and they didn't really want to expend the flash this early on. So nevertheless, 1-0. Giants pick up first blood, and Acer are now a little bit on the back foot.
Now, a little bit of damage down on Better and Blitz, but nothing too serious. If he comes out of the bush and Blitz immediately tumbles away, does not want to take that stun. A couple of auto attacks between the support zone, nothing too serious, just a little bit of a love tap. Either way, we do see back up in the top lane. Samox now pushing up towards Shabs. Doesn't have to be too worried this time around. Skarna's back down towards mid, but so is Morden. He's double buffed and he's hiding around the backside by the race, but immediately Skarna comes around the corner. Skarna's going to spot him, the junglers are going to see each other. This the slow goes down onto Morden. Amazing does get knocked up though, that Rupture landing perfectly with the resulting slow. Morden managed to escape out of there.
Yeah, the animation between the two of them, Crystal Slash and Red Buff, and then in conjunction with the Rupture Slow, both of them just moving at a snail's pace. Neither really able to continue chasing. Blitzx is a little bit low in this bottom lane. There's no sustain at all, and every time he eats a Mystic Shot like that, it's going to put him further and further behind. And again, eating the Mystic Shots, you need to be dodging those. You need to be moving out of the way, because if he's staying that low, all he's doing is opening himself up to a Dazzle, Arcane Shift, Ignite, Shatter combination, and potentially giving up, you know, a kill to this bottom lane. He applies one little bit of poke there onto Emmy, but again, look at this. They're just chasing continually. Arcane Shift plus Mystic Shot. Blitzx is going to eat a Dazzle, Shatter, Ignite, immediately cleanses away. Mystic Shot at long range, just barely missing. But that's cleansed down now.
That Shatter didn't actually land the damage, but it did expend the flash for I Mind Me Mind.
Yep.
He's only using half his name at the moment, but I wanted to get it in once. Weird-ass name, and I'm glad I don't have to pronounce it, but I do completely miss a kill in the mid lane while it's all going on. I apologise. Amazing though, hasn't made it out of here safely. Does dodge that knockout from Morden, dodging between those two turrets. Will smite the big Wraith on his way. Actually gives a bit of health back from that as well, so heals him up slightly. But it has leveled out this mid lane. Citizen Wayne now has a kill to counteract that of Anivia's early first blood.
And Shabs is playing really well. 42 CS. He's got a 5 CS lead over his lane counterpart, Shen, up in that top lane. And he's visited the middle lane twice. You know, he's been moving, he's been roaming, he's been trying to look for something and just, you know, hasn't been able to convert it to anything yet. But keeping up that CS, picking up now the double Dorans to help him out in the lane, and still having that map presence, it's got to make Giants think a little bit about it, make it a little bit nervous. In the middle lane, Cho'Gath has jumped onto Karthus, poked a little bit of damage down. It's going to scare him away and at least mitigate the recall, but nothing more than that. And the game is just a little bit slow at the moment. Everybody just feeling one another out. You know, we've had 2 good kills on the board. One of them from a very aggressive low-level dive. In the bottom lane, you don't see Blitzx going aggressive as they know that Tariq was recalling, and then immediately signals put pressure onto Ezreal.
Yeah, Morden unfortunately walked straight across the ward as he was trying to get to that bottom bush. Otherwise, he could have caught Lumi out while he was down here when he was 2v1, but not to be the case. Samex does start pushing Shabs into this turret in the top lane and started to trade. In actual fact, with that many creeps, he will win these, but Giants are invading onto this blue buff down here into Acer's jungle. Acer have Amazing and Imai into here. Morden and Babetta realizing they're too low in the health though to take that fight and do start to back away. Amazing's going to want to pass that off to Citizen Wayne, but at the moment he's locked up under his own turret thanks to a strong push by Anivia.
And up in the top lane, Jax is taking a lot of a beating from Shen. They've been trading sort of back and forth a little bit, but that long range, that Vorpal plus the key strike, just landing it, waiting for the cooldown, waiting for the ability to come back up, and the passive to come up again, and just keeps poking Jax down. Without the potions, Jax's sustain in lane is significantly less than that of Shen, and he doesn't have a natural shield either. You know, feint from Shen is really going to be helping him out, and you can see how it's affecting these trades. They're staying even at the moment in terms of farm, but Shen has a GP10, so he's already going to start scaling better, and if Shen can start bullying Jax around and create a lead from this is the situation you were talking about earlier, where a tanky, beefy, farmed, powerful Shen is going to give all of that frontline protection to Vayne that she needs.
Skarner took that blue buff. Citizen didn't even go over there to try and take it, so they're happy to give Skarner a second blue. Maybe we'll try and speed his jungle up a little bit more, given these early levels, helping him get into this game well and truly. But we'll wait and watch, because both Shen and Karthus are 6 now, and as Shabs tries to get in range to land that stun there onto Samex, Amazing comes up from the river, but unfortunately cannot make too much happen. Still wards all over the map here for both teams, because neither jungler has managed to pick up an Oracles yet. Once we see that happen, we'll start taking away a bit of vision. But until that point, both of these lanes are locked down for any kind of jungle pressure, with bottom and the top.
And look at this bottom lane, double Doran's Blades and Boots for Vayne. On the back of all of that poke and all of that damage that she took very early on, she has recalled, picked up those additional items, so a little bit more lifesteal, some additional HP, and of course all the attack damage. But Ezreal has not recalled yet, and I want to see how he decides to play this out. Eats an Ice Blast in the back there from Babetta. It's going to slow him down a little bit. Not dealing as much damage as I would have anticipated, actually. But, we've seen Ezreal's opening with Berserker's Greaves into Doran's, or sometimes even just going straight for a Phage outright. And I want to see what Lumi actually decides to do, because he's got a lot of options in front of him. 75 CS, no recalls. He hasn't gone back in the full 10 minutes, and he's doing very well as far as last season is concerned.
Yeah, it's staying very even. Vayne too is now going to use his ult onto this wave just to make sure picks everything up. Odd Mystic Shot, don't know why I went that way. Samex is going to recall in the top lane. Shabs now a little bit alone. And that CS difference has gone back the other way. As you say, Shabs was ahead earlier while he started to roam around the map, staying ahead. But now, back up here, still 1v1ing Samex, but Shen's at that point now where he's just a little bit too much. He can just keep that harassment down on the Shabs, and he doesn't have the same sustain to keep up the gap. So, another quick way to even things out. But in the bottom lane, we do have a cleanse forced onto Blitz, because Amazing was making his way down here. And with the stun from Imai, he had to get out of there quickly.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, Flash is expended for Skarner, but Impale was not used. So he did not get in range to cast that Impale and lock Vayne down, which is incredibly, incredibly key. Skarner, the only way he can really commit to a battle is with that crystalline exoskeleton, diving all the way forward or flashing into it. I want to look at items really quickly. Double Megatron Cloak on Jax, so he's obviously fearing some of the magic damage that's coming out from Shen. And in the middle lane, Citizen Wayne has opted to go for a Blasting Wand, Ruby Crystal, and the Mana Crystal without actually finishing his Catalyst and Protector first. So that's an interesting pickup for me.
Yeah, going with the damage over the lane sustain, especially after giving that blue buff up to his jungler. I'm surprised that he didn't feel he needed it, but we do have Morden going in on the top lane onto Shabs. Samex forcing a flash away, the Ignite's ticking down. He's going to lead back in and stun them both up under the turret. Morden going very low, taking the turret shot, but the ult's coming down, and Morden will survive it. Not before Samex, however, can pick up Shabs under that top turret.
So close. Cho'Gath, if he had taken any more damage at all, he would have been taken down by the Requiem, and I think that is the decision. That's why Citizen, or take a look at the damage in the middle lane there, eating into the face from XD. He's going to carry on chasing, flash forward, exhaust goes down. Now Stand United's been used, Shen is diving in here. Can he get the taunt? Citizen Wayne's going to give up his life. He now has mana for free casting, but do they have enough DPS to pick up Samex? Amazing is going to carry on chasing. One more little smarty on the floor is going to be enough to pick up the kill though. Exter does have Rebirth. Amazing has... did have red buff, decided not to chase there after the crystallized wall threw him away, but trading 1-for-1 in that middle lane engagement, and I think the reason for that Blasting Wand early is so that the Requiem hits harder from Citizen Wayne, making sure that the first and second time he casts it actually potentially leads to kills.
Yeah, I like this play here coming in from Acer. They're going to bring Shab straight down for the dragon. They know Shen's dead. They know they don't have that massive ultimate to play for. And they know that Anivia is very low. There we go. Morden didn't quite manage to kill the ward. Now he goes back after using that Oracles. And there's no vision on this in actual fact from Giants. So Acer do manage to pick up the first dragon of the game completely for free and uncontested. And that brings the goal count back level again. This game is still very, very close.
Yeah, very, very close indeed. Both teams working very well. The opportunities that have been created have been done by individual plays. So we've already been seeing that, ganks have happened. We've seen pressure from different champions, and we've seen, a pretty nice tower dive. Now down in the bottom lane, is the Rupture going to land? Both champions are going to step side by side. Ice Blast comes down onto Tariq. A lot of damage coming from Vayne, but unfortunately no additional CC. Means that gank effectively just fizzles into nothing. Ionic Spark picked up by Shen as his first item. He's going to be telling you immediately he wants to farm, he wants to push, and he wants to split push as fast as is possible. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Sunfire Cape coming out next. Over on the flip side, Mercury Treads picked up by both Skarner and Jax already.
I mean, he's coming up against a lot of magic damage here from Shen. That was the Vorpal Blade Spam, that's what he was getting from that. And now, here with this Ionic Spark, that's all magic damage too. So getting that early magic resist makes a lot of sense. Plus the fact he wants to get out of that sea. There's the stun from Anivia, there's the Shen from Torn. The Shen from Torn? Torn from Shen. Torn from Shen, mixing the most of that. And then the Shen, the slows from Babetta. Blitz does take that stun from Imai, but he does tumble away from it and doesn't take too much damage from Lumi. They do have Skarner making his way down here into the bottom lane, but he's hiding in this tri-bush up behind their turret. And the lane's not really pushing hard enough for them to make any kind of play onto Blitz or Babetta for that. And they do pick up that ward after it was immediately placed by Imai. So good reactions, nice speed onto that one. And they also spotted Amazing as he makes his way into this bottom bush.
Yeah, Amazing does have flash available though, so if he gets close enough to land that Impale, it could secure them a kill. At the moment, we haven't seen a single Skarner ultimate at the 15-minute mark. They have been, relatively, we're trying a couple of ganks, but it's not been a very gank-heavy game. When you consider we've only seen 2 or 3. Samux up in the top lane, lands 3 auto attacks onto the tower, and decides not to land the 4th, which I believe would have procced that little lightning spike. Nevertheless, he backs off 109 CS to the 88 of Jax. Both of these teams have got champions that scale very, very well. Jax and Shen are going to get stronger as the game goes. And Nivea and Karthus are going to get stronger as the game goes. The difference for me, Cho'Gath to me is going to get better as this game flashes forward. Oh, there we go. Flash into Ice Blast. They decided to go on to Tariq. Now Absolute Zero comes up. I haven't seen a Rupture just yet. Finally goes down. Immediately flashes away. Now True Shot Barrage is on. All of a sudden, you got to feel that Layumi's the one that's in charge of this one. Low health Babetta, low health Blitz, and low health Morden. They're going to carry on chasing away. Tariq has decided to come back for some more fun. In the middle lane, Citizen Wayne's been caught out by Extra. He's taken a lot of damage. Feral Scream goes out. Silence. Rupture knocks him up in the air. And one more tick of damage from Anivia is going to close that one out. Requiem goes down. That's for a kill in the bottom lane. They've managed to chase and carry on putting enough DPS for Citizen to pick up a reply. Once again, 1-1. But, it wasn't the kill you were expecting when you had 3 versus 2 engagement in the bottom line.
No, it did not quite work out the way that Giants wanted it. Acer turned around, picking up another kill onto their Karthus, though. Yes, he fell through at the same time, but he's now 3-3. Still got plenty of gold from this, and that's given his AD carry some time to shove this into the bottom lane as well. So we'll watch and see exactly how that turret does and whether it stays alive. At the same time, though, Shabs has been forced away from Samus in the top lane. He leapt onto it, they trade backwards and forwards, but now that there's no mana left, Shabs just cannot take that fight.
The thing that's scary for me here right now, Karthus, 3 for 3, 144 CS. He's out farming the Anivia at the moment. He has a needlessly large rod already at the 15-minute mark. So, in conjunction with that Rod of Ages, he's going to get a little bit more tanky. I want to see where he's going to build it, if it's going to be a Zonya's Hourglass or if it's going to be a straight Death Cap. I'm not 100% sure. But nevertheless, it's really, really powerful item, and it's going to make those lay wastes and those Requiems hit so much harder for these next few minutes.
Samix does go into the top lane, does take down that top turret, but he may have overextended. Now the Red Buff slow goes in, there's the taunt. Amazing's going to have his ultimate. Can he drag him back up towards Shabs? Shabs says, no, I want to farm instead. Doesn't come down to try and help him out, and with Morden coming up the river over wards, they do decide to pull away.
I think it's a smart call as well. Right now, Jax, yeah, he's got the Hex Drinker. Oh, we do see a Dazzle onto Vayne. Nobody's going to chase onto it, though. Cleanse is still available, so if Vayne feels that she really needs to get out in the middle lane, though, it looks like they're going to go for a tower dive. Citizen Wayne manages to get away from that one. Did burn his flash to do it, though. So it did burn his flash.
Yeah, I have a feeling he had to go over the wall and under the Rupture. So, under the Rupture. Over the wall and over the Rupture. But Shabs is going to keep that push up now in the top lane because Shen had to recall, of course, after that last gank. He's going to come back up here and he won't have taken too much tower damage. But he's going to have a nice big wave of CS to go. And as I said, he's just been extending that CS lead again. He's now up to an 11 lead, and he was down by about 10 as well.
Yeah, not too bad at all. With the GP10s ticking and the fact that he's going to be able to just split push all day long with that Ionic Spark, it's going to play into his favor really, really well. On Jax, Hex Drinker in hand, Ruby Crystal as well. Are we going to see Trinity Force next?
Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Trinity Force into Guardian Angel. Done there. Finish build, end build. That is Jax through and through. Might then start building a little bit more damage later once he starts to really make an impact with that. But once he hits those two combos, he's going to be very, very strong in these fights. Not going to be unstoppable, but it's going to make it very hard for Giants to be able to focus him down and get away with it. Of course, he's just going to come back up again. They're going to have to take a lot of focus straight onto him a second time round. So that takes some of the focus off of Amazing, some of the focus off of Lumi. The fact that they have to get through that Jax, but can't, and he'll come back, and he'll come back, and he'll still do the damage. But Amazing coming out of this bottom lane, does get a grab in onto Babetta, going to pull him back into that bush. There's the stun from Imai, but now Shen's here. Sorry, Shen's coming down onto Babetta, and there's Morden. The Carthus will go down and pick up the kill onto the support. Morden's here. Shen didn't actually manage to complete his teleport because of that. They managed to get through him way too soon. Babetta is the only casualty from this 1-0 fight, taking our score to 4-4.
It was a good kill there for Acer, but the thing that worries me and that makes me wonder is what exactly was Morden doing? And the only reason I say so, from about 16 minutes 30, he was sitting in the bottom lane in that little grass bush behind the tower, and he was waiting. He was waiting for the tower to go down, waiting for Taric and Ezreal to engage in a fight, and then he was looking to set up a gank or set up a kill. Dragon has been pulled by Acer, so they can see what they can do, pick this one up. They've also got the tower up in the top lane, so a lot of global gold going their way, which is great. But Morden, he was a bit too passive there. He was waiting for the tower to go down to engage, then again, waiting for the lane, the battle to take place in the bottom lane. He was hanging around by the cliff. He needs to be able to get in there and actually disrupt his opponents in order to set up these kills. But it does need to be pointed out, he's 20 CS ahead of his counterpart.
He is going to keep that farm going, and it should hopefully help him out in the long run. But we'll wait and see. Amazing now has himself on Oracles up, as does Morden, and Morden has done for a while. So he should be able to clear these wards out and take the vision away from the enemy team. Does completely miss this one, as Morden goes straight across. Now still with his blue buff. You do see the bottom lane resetting down, going to defend their turret. So turret has finally fallen in the bottom lane for the Giants. That was Ace's first of the game, but they are still down 2-1 in that turret game. But ultimately, as you said, they've had the two dragons, so their gold count is slack level. It's not a very, very even game, but with 4 kills onto Carthus now, every kill that Acer have picked up is onto Citizen Wayne. He has a Rod of Ages and a Death Cap. So he's starting to get very, very strong. And once we see a proper 5v5 engage fight and everyone is standing on top of that Carthus to do all their damage and to take all their damage, he's going to be outputting a lot. And it's really going to start to disrupt.
Well, let's have a look. How is he actually leveling his champion right now? Is it all into Lay Waste followed by Defile? Yes, and 2 points into the Wall of Pain, of course. But with a 20-minute Death Cap, 20-minute Rod of Ages, I'm really happy about this because, as I said, Citizen Wayne, he used to be very well known for his Carthus many months ago, and it's been a while since I've seen him at a LAN in conjunction with, the champion of Carthus. In terms of Anivia or Carthus, they've got different, abilities, different skill sets to them. Who do you prefer on your team once we hit 30 minutes, 35, 40 minutes?
Sorry, who was the difference? Carthus or?
Anivia.
I was watching the camera. Carthus and Anivia. I prefer Carthus, in all fairness. Anivia, yes, she can wall someone off, but you back off, you wait for that wall, or you flash over it with Carthus, and then you just stand in amongst it all and say, yeah, okay, you've got some CC, you've got a little bit of AoE damage here yourself, but mine's ticking faster, mine's ticking harder. I'm doing more damage, and oh, I'm dead. I'm still doing damage, and now I've got this ult that's going to hit everyone on your team regardless. You can't do the same thing. Yeah, once you've been focused down, yes, you're going to go into an egg, you might pop up eventually, but once you're into that egg, you're stopped. And then you come back out of the egg, and they're going to focus you down again. Or you don't have an egg, and you just straight up die. And then you've got nothing. You've got no kind of response to that. Carthus just has that constant, steady pressure. And you can even go into a fight with no mana. If Anivia goes into a fight with no mana, she's stuck, she's got nothing. Carthus goes in with no mana, he gets focused down, or if it's not right, then Giants will ignore him, fine. But if he doesn't get focused down, he's going to do a little bit of damage while he has that mana, or while it regens. Then he's going to get killed eventually. Then he's going to get all his mana back and get free casting, and he's still going to do all his damage. Yeah, so true. We see that there was another momentary pause, which has immediately been cancelled by
the players. So hopefully that small bug, whatever it is been resolved. Another ward picked up by Amazing. He's picked that one up from the bottom lane. And again, it's just this slow and this methodical play. It actually reminds me a lot of Season 1 League of Legends, where you had a 20-minute farm fest, then all of a sudden you had engagements and games were over by 30, 35 minutes. So now we're going to hit this phase with so many towers down, 2 for Giants and 1 for Team Acer, where they're going to start roaming, as you can see. Skarner, Ezreal, Taric moving all the way around the map. We've already seen Jax moving up and down the map. Shabs has been looking for an engagement, looking for a place where he can jump onto somebody, stun them with Counter-Strike, and push it into a kill. The thing is, though, Dragon's only going to be up shortly. There's only so many outer turrets, and the teams are going to have to start trying to get closer and closer. Here we go. Shirelia's Reverie was actually popped by Amazing after that creep wave was cleared. Lumi gets stunned up against the wall from a very nice condemn on Vayne, and you can see Babetta, he's just hanging out in that grass. He's waiting. He's saying, come to me, let me use my absolute zero, let me bait you in and get the damage off. But Acer wisely back off. And we're just in this small stalemate right now.
Yeah, Shabs is still just trying to farm in the top lane. He can't really leave it because Samus is just going to shove it into the turrets and just keep shoving it into the turrets and just keep going and going and going until the fight starts. Then he's going to ult away and save his team, leaving them 5v4. So Citizen's going to come up. They're going to try and make something happen here onto this Shen. Jab running through that Tribush will taunt to wait before the stun can go down. Leaping to a ward, does get the stun down the slow, so Citizen's going to land as well, but the Phage Proc comes in, forcing a flash away. Citizen going to flash to keep up. There's the exhaust goes down as well. There's a lot of damage coming out from this. One more lay waste should be enough to put him into ultimate range, but Samix just a taunt away. Now Shabs is going to keep the chase on, going to do some auto attacks. There's the ult comes out from Karthus. No one in range to cancel it, and he does pick up the 5th kill of the game for Acer, and his personal 5th. But Shabs walks straight into Modern. The knockup goes down, the silence goes out. There is no way for Acer to Shabs to get over this wall. He has no mana, but he has a flash.
Yeah, really nicely done. That was great play from Citizen Wayne and Shabs. I was a bit nervous for a second when I thought, well, that's a flash, that's very aggressive, but Karthus had exhaust available. He had that movement speed debuff. He had the ability to catch him. Now on the bottom lane, Ezreal is alone. Taric has just rejoined, so a little bit of engagement has gone back and forth. Stun damage onto Babetta, Shatter, Radiance as well. Will the Ignite damage be enough to pick it up? Yes, it is. Now they've turned their attention to Blitz. Dazzle should be up very, very shortly. Ezreal's going to go down in the background. The Dazzle was enough to stun him. Look at the cooldown. I think it caught him just in time on Taric.
It was definitely a summer heal in play there as well on Lumi, but Extra's coming down. Here's a quick stun, and then the Mystic Shot comes off from Lumi. Does a lot more damage to X than they were expecting, and with Acer's Amazing showing up, they do finally decide to back out of that. It was only Morden and Amazing there, and they cannot return any kills on that. So now there's 2 more engagements now where Giants just haven't been able to get any return kills onto the ones that Acer have picked up. Now 4 and 7, and finally there's some kills on someone else other than Citizen Wayne. 1 on Taric, 1 on Ezreal. Citizen's going to get knocked up by Morden, a little bit of silence, but nothing too serious. But it does force him to back off of that mid lane. And now we have a 2,000 gold lead on the table for Acer.
And the thing is, this does sort of play into Giants' favor. This slow pace, 25 minutes, high farm, low kill intensity game. Even though Vayne is very behind Ezreal right now. I mean, that's a huge difference. 40 CS, and you take into account the dragons and the towers. That's a lot of gold difference between your carries. The difference is, Vayne is going to outscale Ezreal much harder. When they get to those full build stages, Vayne is just going to be able to melt everybody. It doesn't matter if Jax builds HP, because, the Silver Bolts are going to burn through it. She's going to be able to use Condemn to get away. And once you eventually get those items, in your back pocket, that Vayne is going to become terrifying. The thing is, can Acer put enough pressure onto Giants to make it, null and void, so that Karthus can die to a Vayne and still kill her, for example? Or can they get enough map control to make it not even relevant, Put Giants in a position where if they lose a team fight, they lose the game because they simply are not deep enough.
I have a feeling Giants now, they know they have the stronger late game. I think that goes without saying. And they know they're going to keep losing the mid game the way this is going. They're happy to just let it go the way it is. They're going to sit back, they're going to farm, they're going to take the CS, they're going to try and counter gank where they can, leave it at that. Until that point, they're going to wait. They're going to wait, let Vayne farm, let Vayne farm. Acer know they can't do that. They're going to have to start making these plays, and that's what they're looking for now. They're roaming as a team, they're roaming as a group, they're starting to pick off turrets and the kills where they can find them. There goes top turret, making the score for that 2-2. We do have Extra now here with the rest of the Giant squad grouping up and surrounding this Baron pit. Baron has been cleared by Acer, but I'm not sure they're ready to go for it yet. They do have Karthus who can do it very quickly, But they've been spotted here by Giants. They don't want to risk that. And Ezreal, of course, was back in base, so they had to back away from any other kind of fight.
And with this huge CS advantage, as well as the towers, the dragons, etc., Trinity Force and Last Whisper already completed for Lumi in comparison to a Phantom Dancer. That's it. You know, the base attack damages are going to be so drastically different between these two champions. Giants need to play for time, they need to stall for time, and they need to bring themselves back into this through farm, through jungle camps, etc. In terms of, you know, killing Baron, you've got Karthus who can do it very well, but then you add in a Vayne with Blood Boil, a Nunu with his Consume and his True Damage, and a Cho'Gath with Smite and his Nom 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 Feast. That's a lot of true damage to secure and make sure they pick it up. But it looks like Acer are going to be brave ones and start it first.
It is down to 8,000 health very quickly. They're going to peel off and go into Samux. He does taunt away and get out to safety. X is going to drop a wall in the pit. They're going to see the Baron. They're going to keep an eye on his health down to 5,000. I might off to one side. Morden now closing in, drops the ward over the wall. Is he going to go for a steal? Not going to quite get out of the way. It's down to 1,300 health. Baron is still alive. Samux going in. Does finally drop down, and Cho manages to steal it. But the Ezreal will come out, and is it too little too late? Giants are dropping very low. Nunu going to fall. Karthus picks up one kill. Ezreal picks up the other. Great AoE stun from Exeter. Picks up 3 members of Acer in a stun. But they ultimately managed to back away. Karthus is still standing though, and he's very, very low. He doesn't want to cast his ult and risk getting it cancelled. Lumi coming around one side. Morden just forcing a flash for Imai to get away from that knockup. Going to chase down onto Ezreal, but the great wall from Exeter picks up a kill onto Skarner. They will keep pushing up that mid lane. There's still a lot of health in these members of Giants. Same cannot be said for Acer, so they're not going to be able to defend these mid turrets. And Giants have stolen that blue buff. That
deep. Shen had taken a lot of damages off by blue buff. The rest of the Giants, they were moving in together, and you know, Tariq was trying to zone them. He put a dazzle down as well. And, there was a little bit of exchanges between the players, but Cho'Gath got in range and picked it up. Lumi eats 1, 2, Silverbolt's procs goes down. The Hunter and the Knight is out. He's going to eat a dazzle. Now they've turned their attention over to Tariq. Morden's going to carry on putting some pressure down. Look at the movement speed from BlitX. The slow comes on to Imi. He's going to get knocked up in the air. That was a stun, it looked like, or something similar. Requiem comes up from Karthus. I don't know if anybody's low enough to kill. That was just to scare them away, really. And Vayne now is looking very scary. Oh, True Shot Barrage almost takes her down. He's going to be able to spend 3,000 gold right now and just become even more powerful and even more of a killing machine.
Yeah, those kills bring in the count back a little bit closer for Giants towards Acer. 7 kills to 9, but a lot of them are heading now towards Vayne. And if he's picked up 4, she's going to start getting very, very strong and even herself out towards her mid lane counterpart of Karthus. Well, Vayne, we saw the damage output she had there, and that was before, as you said, she went back and bought this Bloodthirster. She bought Bloodthirster complete and a Negatron's Cloak as well, so Karthus' damage is going to start being negated as far as Vayne is concerned. And is he going to start and grab this blue buff? Should hand it over to Citizen Wayne, but they do have extra actually coming over. Just the planter ward there. There's no kind of vision. He doesn't know if this blue is being done at the moment. And well, this game is all on Giants now. Still a lot of their members have this Baron buff. They know how strong they are. Morden up at 6 stacks. Choni has been for a while. They can really try and make this play, and they can push waves very quickly, of course, using Anivia. Vayne shoving bottom, Shen split pushing top. He can then ult into onto a fight where he's needed. And they could end this game somewhere in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, the possibility is definitely there. I mean, Bloodthirst is now picked up for Vayne. Negatron Cloak as well. I expect that to become a Quicksilver Sash. And when you consider that Vayne's just going to be able to, you know, QSS some of the crowd control off and run away, get to safety and carry on fighting, it's a really, really powerful tool. Let's have a quick look at the itemization. Wits End, as well as the Ionic Spark and Sunfire Cape for Shen. That is the ultimate split push team in the middle lane. Surely as Reverie gets popped and immediately cancelled by a good Wall of Pain. Cho'Gath, Aegis of Allegiance, Shurelia's, he's going to go back and spend some money. Anivia, Fiends and Holy Grail, as well as your Rod of Ages and Death Cap. And of course, down in the bottom lane, it looks like Nunu's working towards a Zeke's Herald, but he's a little way away from finishing that right now.
No, that Zeke's Herald, once he gets complete, it's just going to amplify Blitz so much further. He's going to get that lifesteal AoE, he's going to get the attack speed buff AoE, he's going to have the Blood Boil already from Nunu, and he's got his own Phantom Dancer and Bloodthirster, so he's just going to be terrifying. Still going to be killable, of course. You can just lock him down in a quick stunt, burst a couple of Qs on him from Citizen Wayne, pull him back again with Amazing, some good CC, and of course Jack's leaping on him. He's going to be stoppable. You can still do that. But it's Vayne. She's slippery. She's going to get that cleanse, of course, is in there. She's going to possibly have a Quicksilver Sash soon. It's going to be very hard to lock her down. If that happens, yeah, locked, dead. Getting her there is a very, very tough road.
Especially with 2 effective cleanses. You know, Quicksilver Sash as well as Cleanse, as well as Condemn, as well as Tumble, as well as Flash. It's like, wow, how much do you have to blow to actually do that? So, once again, 30 minutes in, gold is even. Towers are relatively even, 4-2. Nobody's really pushing any of the lanes very heavily, and neither team has really made any very big plays. Acer tried to sneak that Baron, then put quite a bit of damage down, and it got stolen away by Morden with a very, very nice use of Smite. He's 0-0-5, has had that Oracle's Elixir running since at least the 8th or the 9th minute in this game, and he's got, I'd be willing to bet he's earned his money back on that Oracles with the amount of wards that they've been able to pick up and clear. And there we go. Vayne, all of a sudden still 40 CS behind, but Phantom Dancer, as well as Bloodthirster and Quicksilver Sash, you gotta feel that she's a bit more scary than what Ezreal is.
Definitely. Yes, he's got himself a Last Whisper. Yes, he's got himself a Trinity Force, but Bloodthirster's not quite there. And even then, with those items, it's still Ezreal versus Vayne. Vayne's late game just scales so much harder. That true damage is so much scarier. And as you mentioned before, how slippery she is. The tumbles are just horrible to try and grab onto her. And when she stealths because of popping her ultimate, you just don't know exactly where she is at all times. And then she pops out and then she rips a lump of your health away. So we'll see how Acer handle this, but it's very much in their hands at the moment. As we said before, they had that early mid-game area locked down. Late game is definitely Giants, and they've let them go through to this point. 33 minutes is a very long way into this game, and Giants are starting to look very, very strong indeed. Babetta, how much gold are you carrying at the moment? Another 700. He's not going to be far off that Zeke's Herald now. Shen has been split pushing the entire game, and he's up to 280 CS. Hasn't really had to use his ultimate more than twice or 3 times now. Shabs, the whole time, yes, he's been farming against him. He's on 280 himself as well, but he hasn't got this Guardian Angel up yet. If he leaps in onto Vayne, they're just going to immediately, as a team, turn around. Shen's going to taunt him off of it. Nuna's going to slow his attack speed or whatever, pop his ultimate. Vayne's going to tumble away from it and rip him apart using those silver bolts. There's nothing he can do against that.
Yeah, it's so, so difficult. The problem that Acer had is they were in a power position. They had the lead, they had the items, they had the champions, but they didn't convert it. They didn't push lanes. They didn't group up as 5. And you know what? They're still not. Nobody is grouping together. And, okay, fair enough. There's a Shen in the game. So Giants are never going to group up as 5 because they want Shen to split push. But then what Acer needs to be doing is shoving as 5, force a team fight, force Shen to use his ultimate, try catch somebody out with that Dazzle and that Impale. And when you spend this much time doing nothing, without being too rude, you give Giants all the time they need to hit late game, which they have. So Baron buff is now up, Hunter in the Night activated by Blitzex. The rest of Acer are absolutely nowhere to be seen. There is vision, there is a ward there and available. It's just about to be taken down. Requiem has been used. You can see the damage, and that was actually Shen being picked up on the bottom lane. We didn't even know that he was low. Baron buff has been picked up by Skarner, so they're going to carry on with this fight. That looks like it was a steal as well, so Giants had started it, and it's Acer that have actually picked it up. This is the huge play that Acer needed. Can they convert this into kills? That's 1, 2, 3. They've only lost 1 in reply. Lumi's going to carry on chasing. That's the Oracle's Elixir down with the Baron and 4 kills, an ace rather. This is going to be towers. Is there enough time to get to the inhibitor? This is the question.
That could not have been better for Acer. Not only did they steal the Baron, Karthus wasn't even there for that fight, and they picked up an ace. They can now keep pushing these lanes. Lumi just going to face tank this mid turret, but we have to take that down before he takes any kind of serious damage, and a quick heal from Imi keeps him topped up. Going to grab this tier 2 turret as well, and there's still a lot of death timers on Giants. They're going to be gone for a little bit longer. They're going to grab this turret. They can make their way perhaps into another one. Maybe we get a little bit more damage, take this out to about halfway. But with Jax and Ezreal, they're 2 of the best turret killers in the game. The fact that Lumi, of course, can buff Shabs' attack speed, that just makes things better. They do manage to grab that in-hit turret, but now Giants are starting to respawn. They're onto the inhibitor itself, but with only Shen and Nunu up, they do manage to clear it out, and now they're going to leave. They are in such a strong position here, up by 3,000 gold now. Not so much, but when you add the stats you get from the Baron buff on top of that lead, and the fact they just want to fight without Karthus actually being there. Yes, he used his ultimate, and he took everyone down to about half health on Giants. But when he's standing in amongst them, with that Defile running, when he's using those lay wastes as well, Giants are definitely going to be scared now.
Yeah, that is for sure. And, you know, even though we're in this late game phase, all of a sudden, Acer have an inhibitor down. you know, Acer have taken an inhibitor down. So that middle lane, super creeps are going to be pushing. They've got the freedom and the knowledge to know that Giants have to be on the back foot. Giants have to be defending. Giants have to be sitting in a position where they cannot actually move or do anything because they're at risk of losing the game now. So Giants, that was the play that they needed. And it all started from the back of Shen split pushing. He was in the bottom lane, he was trying to shove the tower down, and Citizen Wayne was able to 1v1 him and then join the fight, you know, through the use of his Requiem. Stand United wasn't able to get used. Isn't available on cooldown? It wasn't even used in that engagement. And you can imagine how much of a difference that would have made if you'd thrown that onto a Vayne.
He's only got 100 MR and there's a Void Staff complete on Karthus. Very hard for him to try and 1v1 against that. And okay, yeah, he's a bit slippery, can taunt backwards and forwards away from late waste. But Citizen Wayne, best Karthus in Europe for a long time. You said he had that reputation for being so good. He's going to land those late wastes time and time again, and ultimately he did it one time too many for Samex this time around. But Giants have reset, they've all respawned. Blitz is going to grab himself a red buff this time around. He's going to start building that last Whisper now with the pickaxe first. But ultimately, Acer was now ahead of him again. Those kills, that Baron, the
and
turrets.
a Guardian Angel.
Yeah,
So
he's got a Guardian Angel, he's got a last wish himself, and he's got the other item. The Samus goes into taunt onto the top lane, gets Acer very low. Citizen Wayne popping his Zhonya's Hourglass, making sure he delays his death as long as possible. Am going to be the next focus, and Samus will finish him off. It's a quick double kill, in fact, for Giants. Acer really throwing away this lead at the moment, as Shabs is now fighting Samus 1v1, but the slow's going to go in, he's going to get taunted, the stun's going to land, he's going to flash away from the knock-up, but it's 3v5. Acer going to have to start defending now here. Loomis going to be very careful. He's got that Guardian Angel, yes, but he cannot throw that away for no reason. Knock up down, going to force him to back out. Giants are quite low themselves. Amazing is here, still with Lumi. They want to try and pick someone off. Where are they going to shape up? Mid lane, of course, being pushed in by super creeps. Trying to delay Giants' recall as much as possible. But they seem to be making out they're relatively unscathed.
And it was a really weird play. I mean, Karthus and Tarek, they were pushing the lane down, they were shoving it, but there was nowhere else nearby. You know, the closest champion to them was like in the middle lane. And you're going to think, well, okay, fair enough, you're ahead. Fair enough, you just won Baron in a really good fight. But you cannot put yourself in a position where you're going to get jumped on 2 versus 5. You know, it's positional play. You've got to be smart about it. One of the little tumble and auto attacks on Tsunami. Letix is going to carry and he's going to pick this fight, and I don't think he can. Oh, this is why Stand United is being used. Now with the Requiem being down. Cleanse. Somehow Blitz is alive, but he steps back into the True Shot Barrage. Lumi, Guardian Angel still available. Red buff and blue buff. He's going to carry on chasing. Amazing. Is he going to get in range for an Impale? I think he gets stuck in the wall, in fact.
In that wall.
That is a beautiful, beautiful Crystallize, holding Amazing directly in place. Quite possibly the most powerful form of crowd control I have ever seen in League of Legends. And now the tower goes down 7-4. Acer are now in complete control of this match, especially if they pick this tower up. Exeter's going to do the best that he can to defend, but there's no Vayne, there's no Shen for a little bit. Cho'Gath is going to be coming up as well, but he's busy dueling on the bottom lane, trying to prevent Jax from split pushing. And all of a sudden, the team with the split pushing Shen is the team that's being split pushed against.
Acer, they lost a Baron, they had it stolen away from him, it looked bleak for them, but as soon as they got that steal back, as soon as Amazing took the Baron away from Modern, which is something you very rarely see, a steal from a Cho'Gath and a Nunu team, you've got the Feast, you've got the Consume and the Smite mixed in on that. It's a lot of true damage. They just couldn't make it work. And ever since Amazing grabbed that, Acer have looked very strong. They're now pushing in off this bottom turret as well. The top inhibitor, of course, has fallen. Shabs is just not being moved from that turret, so Modern has to kill the creeps instead. But Acer are completely infesting this base. Acer does get a good wall down there, forces the Trelliers out. Amazing's going to get stunned up and flash over the wall. Samus is the next focus, but Lumi's coming around. There's some late waste coming down from Citizen Wayne, doing a lot of damage to that Shen. But Acer do peel away and just let the minions slowly push in as a group.
We'll see whether or not they actually converted Shabs. He just wants that tower. You can see him. He's walking right next to Morden. He's not afraid of Cho'Gath. He has Guardian Angel. He's got a huge amount of items in his bank. You know, Trinity Force as well as Hex Drinker, as well as the Hextech Revolver. Without the Guardian Angel, that alone is a terrifying item set. Any of that magic damage that comes from Cho'Gath, or from Shen, or from Nunu, or from Anivia that gets onto Jax, he's just going to shield it up with the Hex Drinker. 50% of the HP tower is already down on one of those Nexus turrets, and it's just a matter of Acer picking their engagement. They've got enough of an item lead, they've got enough of a champion lead and map control to decide when to fight. They destroy this mid inhibitor, and once again, it's just this Mexican standoff that always happens. Teams are looking for an engagement. They're looking for that position where you can flash Impale. Look at Skarner. You can see him. He's hovering there. He's waiting to throw on that X-Line skeleton and dive in, while the rest of his team is once again shoving the bottom lane. They've let the super creeps do all the work for them in the middle and the top, and they're now going to try focus this bottom inhibitor. League of Legends by the numbers. Take the inhibitors down, then take the Nexus down.
Tutorial mode indeed. Lumi going to go and steal this blue buff. He's very low, so it's going to stop him having to back away as well. Plenty of Guardian Angels up now on the Acer squad as well, so they're going to keep coming back out in these fights. Need to try and pop some of those if Giants want to take this fight soon. They do decide to back out. They've got that timer on the Baron, and apparently should be up shortly. Amazing goes in, of course, with his Oracles, going to clear the wards and things out, and then just wait for it. They've got 2 dead inhibs. There's going to be too many minions for Giants to handle if they want to come and stop this fight. And at the same time, of course, Shabs, Citizen, are just going to keep shoving the bottom lane. This is the only lane that doesn't have super creeps coming their way. They'll really keeping that pressure up, really locking them in their base. The Baron has just spawned. They're down to about half health already. Lumi and Amazing just duoing it down. Very hard to solo it. Neither of these two can do it. With 3,000 health and ticking down quickly. Ezreal will go straight back up across the bottom lane. In fact, it's going to catch. Who is it? No one. No one on the Giants lineup, but there goes the Baron as Acer actually back away from the bottom lane as soon as it dies.
Yeah, you know what? I think that Acer, once again, they're in a position now that they're in the driving seat, all right? It's their game now. There's 3 Guardian Angels on their sides. They picked up another Baron buff. They've got 2 inhibitors down. They can do what they like now. You know, they have the time to do it. They have the ability to do it. They can decide when they push, when they don't push. And interestingly enough, look at Karthus's build. This is something we didn't even look at just yet. You have a Lich Bane on Karthus. So it makes sense. Lay waste, auto attack, lay waste, auto attack. Fair enough. I can understand that. 790 ability power. You cannot get more glass cannon Karthus than that. And look at Ezreal, a Frozen Heart picked up in conjunction. So he has decided to forego the likes of a Phantom Dancer or an attack speed item and pretty much gone, you know what, if Vayne wants to jump on me, fine. I'm going to mitigate all of that attack speed that Nunu gives you, all of the attack speed from your Phantom Dancer, all my armor is going to help me against your auto attacks, and I'm just going to be able to outduel you with my superior items and tank ability.
Yeah, Acer now back here in the Giants half of the map. They've got 3 minutes left on their Baron buff. And they are shoving this bottom lane again. Lumi on his own up top at the moment, going to ram that wave in with the minions. That inhib is probably going to spawn up again soon, but a quick crystallize and ult over the wall from Exeter's going to chunk away half of Citizen Wayne's health, force him to back off for a little while, let the Baron regen really kick in. The whole while, Lumi is now in this base again, causing all kinds of nuisance with himself as Vayne is trying to take out the super creeps. Bottom turret's still very low. Modern taking some more posts. Shabs wants to come in and try and take it. Honestly, if they brought Lumi down here, he'd have killed that by now. These minions have been taking it for long enough. Lumi just hasn't had a chance to touch it. He hasn't been doing the same to the Nexus turret, so I really don't know why they've left him away from it. But now the turret does fall. Shabs goes in, he leaps straight onto Samix. There's a lot of damage going down to Shabs, but Vayne isn't across here yet. He's trying to deal with Lumi in the top lane. Karthus standing on top of everyone. The Feast is going down onto him from Morden onto Citizen Wayne, but he's going to quickly Zonya's. He's not dead yet. Shabs is going to come back up from his GA and immediately pick up the kill onto Anivia. The Karthus ult's going to come out, but they're all on the fountain. They should survive it, but there's not enough members of Giants left up, and Acer will finish off the Nexus and take this game.
Well played to Acer, forcing it right at the end, and all of that